Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me for this session on how to research cases on Westlaw. This part is really going to focus just on cases. If you have just a topic and you know your jurisdiction, or if you want to utilize our awesome topic and key number system that allows you to utilize our indexing system to find cases directly on point, as well as touching on KeyCite for cases. So we're going to continue with the dog bite liability issue in the state of Florida. And again, I could start here on the main page, but I really focus on going to where the answer is. So I'm going to click where it says content types and then cases. Once again, this is where you can find everything on cases. I could search in all cases here by selecting all federal and all states and researching right here. I could click on just all federal, all states, cases by court, cases by circuit, cases by state, other jurisdictions, and topically by practice area. For this session, I'm going to select Florida. Now, one of the things I want to remind you here, and that I especially like about this screen, is to remember to choose the database of least resistance. If you are researching a state issue and you don't need federal materials, don't include it in your search. And the same in the reverse. If you are researching a federal issue and state may not be applicable, don't include it. Always narrow your universe so that your search can be a little bit broader, because your potential of results is much smaller because you've narrowed the database. To me, that's one of the best ways to start your searches because you've already eliminated a breadth of material. For this search, though, I am going to search in both, and I'm going to use my search, dog bite liability. Again, I could have included some of the facts, something deeper about the issue, but I just want to see what's out there on this subject in a broad sense. I've really narrowed my result potential because I'm just in Florida state and federal cases, so my search doesn't have to be perfect just yet. And so then I would click search and see how many results I get. Actually, not too bad, 155 cases. You can see where your search terms appear highlighted in yellow and in bold throughout the citation list here. And now over on the left side, I could do my search within results, looking for additional terms that are related to the elements. Maybe I want to see if any of these cases have anything to do with children or a child. Maybe I want to see if any of them have anything related to a sign or a warning or notice, or perhaps dealing with provocation or offense, or perhaps even the viciousness of a dog. And so I can now, because I've included everything dealing with dog bite liability, I can do my search within results by each of those sub issues. And that way I can build little stacks of cases. So I am now going to type in one additional term. So I want to see if any of these address the viciousness of a dog, of the dog in question. Was it a Yorkie? Was it a Doberman? Again, that might be one of the questions in front of the court. And so it dropped our list from about 155 down to 34. Roughly about a fifth of the original results. And this is now much more manageable. I can scan through the titles of the cases, look at the snippets of information here, and see where my new search term appears highlighted in purple and in bold. What I also like about this, and that is really helpful for you, is that you can see how the search terms are related to the original search. Does it appear once? Does it appear twice, 5 times, 10 times? Was it a really big discussion in the case? So I can now see the results here and see my cases. I'm going to hop into Belcher v. Stickney. So here's just a sample case for us today. At the top of each of our cases, we have what's called the synopsis, which is a quick summary of the case, including some of the facts, the procedural history, and the holding. This is really helpful because these are written by West editors who have read the case and are essentially breaking down the case in much easier terms to understand than what they wrote in their opinion. Not only that, I don't want to read the opinion twice. I want to quickly understand what happened and see kind of a summary of the case. Following the synopsis are what's called the West headnotes, which are all of the legal issues in order in which they appear throughout the case. So it's kind of an outline of the case. It also includes the reference to our topic and key number system, which we will get to in just a moment. Headnotes may also lead you to statutes. So just as I've mentioned in the statutes and secondary sources classes, you'll see here that cases can lead me to statutes and secondary sources. So no matter what direction you start, be it with a secondary source, a statute, or in this case, a case, it will lead you to all of the additional materials that you need. If you click on a headnote number, it will take you to that part of the opinion where that issue is discussed. You'll also notice that I've highlighted a part of the case. You can do that by cursoring over the text as if you were going to copy and paste it, and you can highlight it. You can also take a note. And remember the next time you come back to Belcher, why you liked it. Oh, this was good for the viciousness issue. And all of these highlights and notes will stay on your password until you delete them. You saw that I pulled it up, and my highlights from a couple of weeks ago were still here. And so that's also how you can annotate and mark up your cases so that you remember why you like them. At the top of our cases, you'll also see our key site information, and you'll maybe have started noticing these little flags that are appearing in the tops of your cases. Those are our key site symbols. If you click on the key site icon at the top, it will show you the legend. A yellow flag, such as in the instance of Belcher, in a case will indicate that my case has some negative treatment, but nothing that is case killing. So right now I can look at Belcher and know that it is still good law for what it stands for. A red flag on the top of a case will indicate that something in the direct line has impacted your case. So something involving the exact same parties in the exact same line has affected your case, and you would need to click on the History tab to see what happened. A red stripe flag indicates that something outside the direct line of your case has determined that something is no longer good law for at least one identified point of law in that opinion, but it's something outside the direct line. So again, you would need to check on the History tab to see what happened. A blue stripe flag indicates that your case has been appealed to the U.S. Court of Appeals or to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the orange circle with the exclamation point indicates that your document may no longer be good law for at least one point of law based on something it relied upon. And so I will highlight where you would find that information. So if I had something with a red flag or the red stripe flag, I would want to click on the History tab to see what negative information is there. For the yellow flag, such as in Belcher, I would want to click on the Negative Treatment tab because I can see that Regis v. Porter didn't follow this in dicta. And so I would maybe want to check to see why Regis v. Porter chose not to follow Belcher's decision. For table of authorities, these are the cases that were relied upon by the Belcher court. So if there was an orange circle, I would want to check the negative treatment tab to see what case Belcher relied upon was no longer valid, or what had happened to that case to see how it impacted how Belcher used it. The symbols are strictly a warning, letting you know that there may be some additional research or something else that you need to dig into a little bit deeper. We're just letting you know that something has happened, and that, again, you need to figure out what has happened and how it's impacting how you are using the case. We don't know how you're using Belcher. That negative treatment may not impact the way that you're using it at all, so it may not influence you. We're just letting you know something's happened and you need to take a look at that. So these are the cases that Belcher relied upon. I can see that there are 4 cases cited in the Belcher opinion. So if I liked Belcher, these might be some cases to look at. I can also see on KeyCite citing references everything that has since cited to Belcher. So table of authorities is kind of the past of a case. That's what happened before Belcher. Citing references is everything that has happened since Belcher. So this will include cases, court documents, administrative materials, and secondary sources that have cited to this case. So I had 4 in the table of authorities, and now I have 22 additional cases to take a look at with KeyCite citing references from Belcher. I can also perhaps look at some secondary sources. Maybe I still am looking for an understanding of the law. I don't know that much about dog bite liability in Florida, and what are the elements or the rules or potential for damages. And a couple of these articles might be a good place for me to begin. So that's, again, another place that you can go and get and gather more resources to expand your research. And I'm going to go back to Belcher to show you one additional click that you can make. And that is on the West topic and key number system. So let's say I'm looking at the West head notes. I strongly urge you not to skip over the head notes. To me, they're one of the best parts of the opinion. Actually, it's not an official part of the opinion. It's added editorial value, so you can't cite to it, but you can use them to expand your research. So as I am reading these head notes, and I'm trying to determine whether or not I want to use this case, but let's say I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, I really like head note number 2. It's talking about the liability of owners with respect to dog bites, that it neither creates liability on part of the custodian or keeper of the dog who is not the owner, nor exonerates him because of a posted sign warning of a dog. And let's say I want all of the cases in the state of Florida that have cited to this case, or has cited to the same issue, excuse me. All I would need to do is click over on the right side on the topic and key number, deepest in the hierarchy, persons liable for injuries in general. And it will first auto run a search in the jurisdiction that my case is in. And so it pulled up Florida state and federal cases, and it pulled up 22 instances where this head note, topic and key number appears in other cases in those jurisdictions. Now, one of the questions that I get from students oftentimes is, well, I found a really good case, Anna, but I can't use it. It's not in my jurisdiction. And I always say wrong. Even if you find a case that's not in your jurisdiction, there's a way that you can use it. You can look at the table of authorities. You can look at KeyCite citing references, and you can also utilize the head notes and the topic and key numbers. So let's say I'm working on this assignment and my professor all of a sudden mid-semester changes their mind and says, guess what? we're not researching in Florida anymore. We are now going to research in the state of Texas for the rest of the semester. And I need you to find cases in Texas that deal with dog bites and liabilities and injuries. So all I would need to do now is just simply click change by jurisdiction and change this now to Texas. And it would then find all of the instances in the state of Texas where this topic and key number and head note appears in Texas cases. And it's the fastest, most reliable way to find cases because the West editors have already done the indexing for you. They've already read the cases and broke them down by those really specific issues and sub-issues to help you find those on-point cases. But what do you do if you don't have a case to get started and you really want to use the West topic and key number system? Well, no worry. I'm going to click back on Westlaw Precision and go back to content types. And in the top right of the directory, we have the West topic and key number system. And now I'm not going to search at the top. I'm going to search in this middle toolbar, and I'm going to tell Westlaw what my main issue is, dog bite liability. And I'll go back to Florida just for the purposes of my class. And I'm going to tell Westlaw that I'm looking for a good topic and key number on this issue. This is the first time I'm researching. I don't know a lot about this. It's probably not good right now to type in everything. This is maybe the time to type in kind of your big concept and maybe your big cause of action. And I will click search. And then I also want to show you why I like starting a case law search this way, either with the case law search as we did, or with a topic and key number. One of the reasons is because of the things right here on this screen. It's giving me several options, but as I look through these, here is duties and liabilities, persons liable, vicious propensities, provocation, contributory and comparative negligence, and damages, and then even defenses in general. And so what I like about this is if I didn't really know a lot about this subject right now, it's highlighting for me several issues that maybe I didn't know about that I now know about and might need to address. And I could do a search in duties and liabilities in general, look at these cases, see if any of these are good for my research. I could go back, look at my vicious propensities and knowledge thereof. And here's a list of cases specifically dealing with vicious propensities. I could go back and then do a search, maybe dealing with provocation. Maybe the child was poking his fingers through a fence or yelling at the dog or hitting it with a stick or something and provoke the dog into biting the child. So that's what I also really love about the topic and key number system is it really breaks down into specific sub issues for you. And maybe that you didn't really even know you needed at that point. And so that's why it's also a really good place to begin your research. So don't forget about the topic and key number system. The Westlaw editors have really given you a head start. It's just a matter of finding a really good topic and key number to get started. So those were the things that I wanted to show you with case law today. Please don't hesitate to email me at any time if you do have questions. I'm typing in my email in the toolbar, anna.guerra@tr.com. Always give me at least a day to get back to you. I could be teaching, traveling, out of the office if you happen to get my out of office. And so always give me at least a day to get back to you with some answers, maybe even a Zoom recording or some screenshots to help you with your research. Thanks so much and have a great day.